to another episode of the Bright Brains podcast with your host, Isaac. In this show, we will delve deep into the music that shapes our lives. Today, we have a special episode lined up as we explore one of the most talked about rivalries in modern hip hop right now, the Drake versus Kendrick Lamar beef. Joining us today is a lifelong hip hop aficionado who has witnessed the evolution of the genre from the heart of Oakland, California to the vibrant streets of Los Angeles. Please welcome to the show, Erik Fontaine. Welcome to the show, Erik. Tell us a little bit about yourself and your background.
Yeah, I appreciate that, Isaac, and appreciate you having me on. Like you mentioned, my name is Erik Fontaine. Was born and raised in East Oakland, California, and raised throughout various parts of the Bay Area. And my love for music really began when I was a child. I can just hear Earth, Wind, and Fire on Saturday mornings. The Isley Brothers, Patti LaBelle, Prince, Michael Jackson. I would hear these sounds on Saturday mornings, and I knew it was time to clean. So I knew it was time to clean the house, and would come out my room, smell that pine saw, smell that pledge, and I knew it was time to clean. And so my parents loved music, particularly those 70s and 80s soul artists, like I had mentioned. And really, my father, he loved that as well. And he loved hip hop. So that's what got me into hip hop. He collected albums. He has albums. He has 8 tracks. He has cassettes. And he really, really loved Tupac and Biggie. And when he would leave, if he would work on Saturdays, I would sneak and listen, go into our room and sneak and listen to, Tupac, Biggie, Wu-Tang Clan. I would listen to these artists, and that's where I really fell in love. And so would enhance it by listening to our local radio stations in the Bay Area, which was KMEL. And at the time, it was Wild 107, turned into Party 97. And so that's when we listened to hip hop, top 40, and things of that nature. And so that really carried me all throughout elementary school, playing basketball, listen to music, listen to Snoop Dogg, listen to E40, listen to these artists, and turned all the way into as I got into college and got older and really fell in love with these 2 particular artists. And, I listen to music every day when I wake up, when I walk my dog, listen to music, go to the gym, listen to music, and just really interested to see how their career started in the late 2000s and how it's progressed to today.
Yeah, man. It's crazy how even though you grew up in California and I'm from Cincinnati, Ohio, it had like kind of similar childhoods, like, the parents putting on music to clean and whatnot. One of my favorite memories is my dad had a laser disc and he had like, I don't know, was it Michael Jackson Bad? It was like a laser disc format of all like the Michael Jackson videos. And I remember watching those videos growing up. But yeah, it's crazy just how we've had like similar, upbringings, although you're older than me and you witnessed the growth of hip hop. And, it's pretty much America's dominant art form right now. And I think this whole Kendrick Lamar Drake beef, I saw a video online of these kids at a bar mitzvah dancing to Not Like Us, which is crazy, I saw like a wedding video, like a white wedding, and it was like they were like dancing to that. I'm like, whoa, man, this is gone global. So let's talk about it, man. How did this beef begin? I know that Drake and Kendrick, they've been kind of going at it for a while, as far back as like 2013, maybe. So
yeah, this has been brewing for a long time, and I'll try to be as brief as possible. We can kind of expand on that. Started in 2013, and really, they were cordial. There's tracks of them being featured on each other. Drake took them on tour, but this incident really started from this verse that Kendrick did on Control. This is a song with Big Sean. This was Big Sean's song, and this song never even got released officially. It was just released on YouTube due to some sample clearance issue. And in that verse, Kendrick, which was up and coming at the time, he just really called out all of his peers. He called out Drake, J. Cole, Big Crit, A$AP Rocky. He called all these artists out and he just said, hey, this is hip hop. I got love for you all. I'm trying to show that I'm the best, which It's just natural for people to do that. And at the time, if you think about it in 2012, social media was really in its infancy stage. Instagram had just really came out. Twitter had been out in a few years. And so this was the first time in the social media era that you had a song like this where an artist is challenging other artists. It caught fire, it caught a wave. And so that verse where he called everyone out, it caused a lot of reaction and things like that. And most artists took it well. Most artists took it, hey, I understand what he's saying. It's hip hop. He's challenging me. Let's go. We're friends or colleagues off the court, on the court. Let's go. Well, when Drake did an interview for his album that was coming out, he did an interview with Elliot Wilson. They asked him about it. And if you look at just the transcribe of the words, it was fine how he responded. He just said, hey, I respect it, but no one's not dismissing me. I'm good too. But if you look at the video and you look at the interview, it was very dismissive. His tone, it was like a backhanded compliment. He said it was a moment. I applaud Kendrick. He's the underdog. And so while he gave it credit, he kind of dismissed it. And so that's where it started. It progressed the next year when Kendrick responded on the BET Cypher. He responded in a freestyle and he said, ever since Control, I've been putting sensitive rappers back in their pajama clothes. So that was him responding to the interview that Drake did. So that was that piece. And so then Drake we knew it was about Drake, but Drake didn't really respond at the time. Well, we go on a little bit further and Kendrick releases a song called King Kunta. And so in that song, King Kunta, Kendrick says, a rapper with a ghostwriter, what the happened? I swear I wouldn't tell. But most of y'all are sharing bars like you got a bottom bunk on a two-man sale. So he says that. He doesn't call out Drake. We don't know. People always accuse people of having ghostwriters, right? But about a year or 6 months so after that, that's when we find out the Meek Mill and Drake beef. We found out that Drake has ghostwriters. And that whole situation that leaks out from there. From there, that's when we all knew, okay, Kendrick has a problem with Drake. And then from that point, that's when it kind of got rolling. It was called like a silent beef, where they would send subliminal shots at one another. Drake would kind of respond, send pot shots. Kendrick would send pot shots. But from that point, that's kind of where the beef began with them. And this is going back to 2012, 2013.
Yeah, man. So yeah, they've been going at it for a long time. You think in the beginning, Kendrick was just doing friendly competition, or do you think it was always, so I see you shaking your head, yes. So you think it was friendly, but you think maybe over time it morphed into like, oh, I genuinely dislike this guy.
I think so. I think it started off as friendly and it started off as just competition. I think once the ghostwriter allegations came up, I think that's where Kendrick had a problem. I also don't think he liked the response that Drake had. Mm-hmm. Now, there's stuff that goes on behind the scenes. We don't always know. These are always rumors. But I think once Drake started subliminally dissing Kendrick and sending shots, that's when I think it turned into a dislike for him.
Yeah. And the thing too about Drake is one thing I dislike about him is his passive aggressiveness. He has a very like passive aggressive nature, He just, every interview he's kind of gives, he just has this like aloofness to him. Like, what's interesting is that this dude has been in the game for almost 2 decades now, but we really don't know nothing about him, And it's like I came to the conclusion that Drake, he is an actor. He's Aubrey. Like Drake is a character that Aubrey plays. And if you look at his whole career, what he does is he just does like an imitation of whatever is hot at the time. And he has a whole history of, stealing songs like Dram, that Hotline Bling.
Yes, Hotline Bling,
Mm-hmm.
Cha Cha.
Yep. The Weekend. Um, I love Maconin, and it's probably
Tuesday.
more. Yeah, it's probably a whole bunch more that I'm missing. And it hit me, that with the sending of the songs and the ghostwriters and the fact that he always sort of attaches himself to whatever is hot at the moment. Like, right now he's attached himself to Sexy Red, which cannot stand that artist. But yeah, he has a whole history of doing this, and it hit me. He's basically the Madonna of rap, like Madonna, the singer. That's who he is. Like so what do you make of all this?
No, I completely agree. And when you think about Drake, he started off as an actor, right, on Degrassi,
Mm-hmm.
and he really, and really, they all look up to Kanye, right? They all kind of stem from Kanye. Kanye was the artist that came out in the 2000s, really in the middle of he came up on the Rockefeller, Jay Z, hardcore rapper. That group. You think about 50 Cent when they went head to head, but
Mm-hmm.
Kanye was just a guy. He just loved rapping and things of that nature.
Yeah,
But Kanye knew who he was. Well, he did know who he was back then. Different now,
yeah,
but when you look at artists like Drake, or sorry, when you look at artists like Kendrick, Jay Z, Nas, Eminem, they are comfortable in who they are,
mm-hmm.
and their music reflects to that. Look at Jay Z. He had songs like Big Pimpin'. Now in his last CD, he's talking about wills and passing down his inheritance and things like that because he's aged with hip hop. You look at Kendrick, he has his own family. J. Cole has his own family. Look at what the things that Nas is talking about in his latest album. Whereas Drake is almost 40 and he's still, like you said, he's associating himself with Sexy Red, with
Yeah,
Lil Yachty. He's constantly trying to reinvent himself. Whereas as you get older, hip hop is a young man's game.
mm-hmm.
As you get older, you kind of have to tailor your sound to kind of match who you are. It's just natural. But Drake
Mm-hmm.
I has trouble identifying with that, and so that's why you will see him on a Sexy Red song. Then you'll see him on a Bad Bunny song. Then you'll see him on a pop star song. He himself he says that he's a pop star, but he kind of does hip hop. He kind of sings and dances. So I think he sometimes has trouble identifying that, but you
Mm-hmm.
cannot deny he is the biggest selling hip hop artist.
Yeah,
So, and he's been on top for a long time, but there's a lot of, while he is great at what he does, he has a lot of help with that, with the ghostwriters and things of that nature, but it's a lot of money on him because Drake is a business at this point.
yeah,
Universal has a lot of money synced into him. So there's a lot of power that goes behind keeping his name out there, besides of what he does as well.
yeah. Another thing too, like some of the artists you mentioned, like Jay Z, Kendrick, like for example, Jay Z, he is inseparable from New York, right? He is like a representation of New York. Um, Outkast, they're a representation of Atlanta. Kendrick Lamar, he's inseparable from the Bay. The thing about Drake is that he's from Canada. And I'm not trying to put down Canada or anybody listening who's from Canada, but what is Canada's cultural identity? And he kind of had the opportunity to try and build that. And I think he kind of did it, tried to do it. But like Toronto, what do you know about Toronto? You know, like when I think about Oakland, I think about San Francisco, I think about Tupac, I think about burritos, the Bay, LGBT culture, things like that. Toronto, I got nothing, you know.
You know, with Toronto, it is a from what I understand, I've never been there. Toronto is a multicultural city. It's it's one of the bigger cities in the country of Canada, from what I understand. And so it's a melting pot of different cultures. But uh, going back to your original point, Drake, his father, once they separated from his mom, Drake's mom, his father lived in Memphis.
Hmm.
So he would go to Memphis. He speaks about that a lot of his music, going to Memphis in the summer. So I guess he got culture from that. But of course, he grew up in the music sense under Lil Wayne
Hmm.
and the Young Money, Cash Money camp. Well, Lil Wayne is a Southern artist.
Yep.
Lil Wayne is all from New Orleans. But when Drake joined Lil Wayne was the hottest rapper in the world.
Yeah.
But Lil Wayne doesn't do what Drake does.
Hmm.
So they're two different artists. So he kind of just knows upon things that he learned from growing up, going to Memphis, with Lil Wayne. He just kind of crafted and built his style from there, and that's what it is. And it's really interesting. If you go back and listen to Drake's old album, it doesn't even sound like him. It sounds like someone pretending to be Drake.
Yeah.
For me, I will say this: I'm a Drake fan. I listen to a lot of his music, not as much as Kendrick, but I listen to a lot of his music. His music doesn't age well because he kind of just rides this wave. Where I feel like Jay-Z, Heart of the City, timeless.
Hmm.
Nas music, timeless. J. Cole, in my opinion, Eminem, Kendrick. I think their music is timeless, whereas Drake just churns out so much music. It's a lot of just stuff that's right now, but he has to pivot quickly because it's not going to. I'm not saying he has so many hits, you're going to play them forever, but it's because it's so much stuff that he puts out.
Yeah.
So
What's interesting, one thing I've noticed, and maybe this is just because of the industry, but when Drake does come out with a hit, it'll get radio play, massive radio play for like a month, and then boom, it's not on radio play anymore. For example, that song he did with Future and Young Thug, "I'm So Sexy." I don't know if that's the name, but yeah, like, but that got massive radio play, and I ain't gonna lie, I liked it, but if Drake was removed from that song, it still would have been a hit with just Future and Young Thug, right? So what he does is he rides the coattails of people, and Kendrick talked about this in "Not Like Us." Like he said, you went to Atlanta to get your lingo up. You know, 2 Chainz said you're good, and but he lied. You know, and the thing is, man, he's done this his whole career. For example, and this is an epiphany I had yesterday. The first Drake song, I don't know if this was his first song, but the first major hit he had was "Forever." I think that was the name of the song. Where and who was all on that song, right? It was
Eminem,
Eminem, Jay Z. Was Jay Z on there? I know it was Eminem, Kanye. Actually, here, let me look it up.
Eminem, Kanye, and Lil Wayne.
And Lil Wayne. I think it was one more. Let's see here. Forever, Drake. Who else? I think it was. Yeah, you're right. Yeah, Drake, Kanye, West, Lil Wayne, and Eminem. I thought it was more, but Kanye West, Lil Wayne, and Eminem. Those are the three biggest people in the game, right? They're eternal. You know, he did a major song with them. If it was just him, that song wouldn't have been. It wouldn't have blown up. You know, and the song was featured on the documentary about LeBron James. So you could say that he kind of rode LeBron James's fame as well. So he is, like Kendrick said, a colonizer, not a colleague, a colonizer. He's from outside of the United States. You know, he's half black, and he's attaching his name, or he's writing the coattails of major black artists. In the case of Eminem, he's a white guy who's been in the rap game for forever. So he's attaching his name to prominent people to get exposure. And that's been the whole deal his whole career, you know?
I wanted to ask you because you sent me that question, and
Yeah.
I the colonizer line.
Hmm.
I mean, I had to look up. I had to look up again what a colonizer was because when
Yeah.
Kendrick said that, I said, "My God, do you?" So I mean, I guess you said it. Do you think he's a colonizer?
Yeah, I do. Like, it's like this. I think that Drake can't stand on his own. Like I said earlier, he's an actor who plays a character named Drake, right? He approaches his whole rap career like an actor approaches a role. Like, let's say Denzel Washington gets a role playing, I don't know, like, let's say Denzel is going to play, oh, he played Malcolm X, right? I'm pretty sure when he got that role, he probably read up everything he could about Malcolm X. He probably watched a bunch of videos of Malcolm X and like, how does Malcolm X walk? How does he talk? How does he use his words? Drake does the same thing. Whenever a new wave hits, he just goes in and imitates it, you know? And he's kind of like, you know, he takes blackness and kind of distills it into a product that can be served up to, the white masses. And I don't want to get all, you know, I don't know the word to use. Like, I guess some people will say this is woke or whatever, but it is the truth.
Mm.
And the thing is about hip hop, I think they said like 90% of the fan base of hip hop is white. And sometimes as black people, we think that hip hop, is for us. We think we're the main audience,
We're the
but we're
minority.
not. Yeah, we're the minority. Hip hop wouldn't be the global juggernaut it is if it was just black people listening to it. If it was just black people, it would probably be like jazz is now. But that's why I think he is at the status he is. He's able to get with these artists, attach his, name to them, and like suck the juice out of them like a vampire, and then move on to the next artist. I'm kind of rambling right now, but what do you make of this whole?
No, when I sit back and think about it, when you think about it, what Drake is doing and done, it's really smart and what artists have done for a long time, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm an artist, if I'm E40, E40 is from the Bay Area, Vallejo, where I'm from.
Mm-hmm.
Most of his following before he got bigger is from the West Coast. Well, how else are you going to connect with the East Coast rapper? Well, let me connect with Nas or let me connect with the East Coast rapper to kind of tap into their audience. But E40 and a lot of artists, they are so distinct in who they are. You're never gonna really kind of change E40. You'll hear a
Yeah.
different beat, maybe different cadence, different flow, but E40 is gonna be who he is. So what Drake has done by attaching himself, the reason why he would attach himself with Atlanta's been the hotbed for hip hop for how long? I mean, it's for a
Yeah.
20-year run. I mean, for
Yeah.
me, it started when I was in high school with Little John and those artists. I mean, Atlanta's been the sound. They've continued to be the sound with Migos, all the artists that Kendrick mentioned, Future, Lil Yachty, City Girl, and all the producers with Metro Boomin, even though Metro Boomin is from St. Louis, but he's based out of Atlanta. A lot of the producers that are from other southern regions that go to Atlanta. I think where Drake gets into trouble is he kind of loses himself,
Mm-hmm.
where it's like, yes, it's Drake and you know his voice, you kind of know his sound, but it's like what you said, it's the Atlanta version of Drake.
Mm-hmm.
But then he'll do songs like he did in the past with Brianna, where it's a Caribbean vibe.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's singing, and he'll have other artists on there. Whereas if I listen to when Kendrick did the Like That feature with Metro Boomin and Future, that's Kendrick.
Mm-hmm.
That's his style. That's just who he is. He'll
Exactly.
twist it a little bit, but it's still appropriate to who he is. So I think if he just had one signature sound that he's stuck with, I think it goes from there. But I wanted to ask you, do you think it hurts him or it doesn't aid him in the fact that he sings too? So he tries to be in his pop record bag. Do you think that kind of takes away from it?
I don't think it takes away from it because there are artists who sing as well. Ja Rule. I'm kind of having a brain fart right now, but there are tons of artists who sing
Melodic.
and rap. Yeah, melodic. Maybe even say Chris Brown. I know Chris Brown. He was first was kind of just an R&B guy, but
Yeah.
then he's like an R&B rapper. So the whole singing and rapping thing, I don't take that away from him. In fact, I think that adds to his appeal. Even though I have my issues with Drake. he is a talented guy. Let's not get it wrong. He is talented because you got to think about it. Like I was watching an interview with Drake, and he was saying how he was on Degrassi, right? And then Degrassi, they changed up the format and they got rid of the whole cast and got a new cast. And he said after that, he was just done with acting and he was just gonna start rapping. And that's kind of crazy when you think about it. So he just said one day, I'm gonna start rapping, and then boom, he's in the industry and he's like one of the hottest things popping. That would be like if I said, I'm 34, right? That would be like if I said, you know what, I'm going to be an engineer. And then next year I'm working at NASA. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how he pulled that off. Maybe, because maybe, and I hate to even, I'm getting us some iffy territory here. I don't want people to think let me just say it. He's half Jewish, right? Maybe that helped him getting into the music industry. I don't want people to take that the wrong way, but maybe that helped him. So the fact that he was just able to pivot from acting right into music. How many actors have done that? Like most of the time when an actor does music, it's on the side. Like for example, I know Keanu Reeves has a band. Jada Pinkett has a metal band. Uh, Bruce Willis had a band. But there's not any real actors who really are big in the music industry. Maybe Jared Leto, but for the most part, for someone to do a pivot like that, and it's kind of like, wow, you know. But the thing is that he is an actor and he approaches his whole career as an acting job, right? One thing too, I'm going to bring up. You mentioned about how Jay-Z aged with hip hop and how Drake hasn't done the same, right? So Jay-Z has a family, Nas has a family, um, Eminem has a family, you know. Whereas with Drake, I wonder if Pusha T hadn't exposed him, would we even know about Adonis? Would we even know about his child? And supposedly he has another girl out there too, you know? And it seems like he's kind of ashamed of Adonis's baby mother. It's like he doesn't want to grow up. He kind of wants to stay in this sort of fuckboy lane, you know? And it hurts him. So what do you think about all that I just said?
I'm gonna go to your first point, the last point that you just mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that Pusha T exposed that was such a pivotal point to me in Drake's career because why did you hide the fact that you have a child?
Exactly.
And is it because I know that, which no shame or whatever, I know Drake's Adonis's mom was adult actress, whatever, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter. But why was that person hid? I understand that you wasn't in a relationship with her at the time, but this is your son. This is I can't imagine who I am without my father. Now my father wasn't famous or not famous or anything, but why is that? Why did he hide him? We'll never know. He says whatever he said in the song, but I think that was really key. And I really do think you're right that he is stuck in this era because of being the number one guy or being the hot guy, whatever he wants to be. Because if you look at it, Drake is almost 40 years old. He's almost 40. Like the stuff that he does and that he's trying to do, it's like, come on. But if you look at this age of social media, what do you have to do? You kind of have to be at the forefront of being on social media. Are you going to be on the forefront of social media taking your son out on play dates? Are you going to be on being in clubs, being with the latest actress or singer or these things? So I think that's kind of where he struggles with, and he's just still trying to lean into that. As far as the actor turned musician thing, for me, the first person I always think of was Will Smith.
Mm.
Right? Will,
Well,
Will Smith.
hold on. I may cut you off, but Will Smith went from rapper to actor.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I was going to say. So him and DJ Jazzy Jeff, they were musicians first, and then he fell into kind of to Fresh Prince. So that is different. The only person I'm sure somebody's going to think about it They're listening to this. Childish Gambino, Donald Glover.
Yeah, yeah.
He was
Right.
someone who was an actor. I know he was on, I think that's Community, the show, and other shows that he
Hmm.
has done. Donald, he just dropped the album. Extremely successful artist. But if you listen to Donald's music, it's kind of who Donald is, right? He's not
Hmm.
trying to be something that he's not. He's unapologetically him. No, I mean, yeah, LL Cool J started off as an actor. Or sorry, that started off as a rapper. Ice T started off as a rapper. Ice Cube. Yeah, you typically see people. You don't see artists start off as the thespian and then go into the music industry. It's kind of the reverse. So
Yeah.
yeah, no,
And the thing too about Will Smith is that Will Smith, he is authentic. He made fun hip hop songs. His songs are hits. Will Smith wasn't going to California trying to be a thug. He wasn't, I mean, well, I was about to say he wasn't trying to be, he wasn't making videos with Tupac, but the thing is he couldn't do that because Jada Pinkett, she was with Tupac, man. I don't think he wanted to be around Pac, but
wow. And it comes
yeah,
full circle with Tupac being kind of in the middle, being in the middle of this whole situation. It's interesting how
yeah.
that's full circle with Will.
Exactly. And what, speaking of Tupac, so I wanted to talk about like, the songs in this beef. So
I was going to
let's
get to
see
that.
here. Yeah, so it started with well, I mean, like you said, it started in 2013, but with this recent beef, you could say it started with the Metro Boomin and Future song Like That, right? So what's your take on Like That?
It came out of nowhere
Mm,
because it's been this quiet beef forever. It's been long established that the big three in hip hop is Drake, Kendrick, and Cole. That's the big three.
mm, yeah.
J. Cole, which is a mutual party in this, an interesting mutual party. He's legitimately friends with both of these guys.
Hmm.
And he's mentioned the big three and J. Cole and them within the last few months. And then on First Person Shooter, he mentioned the big three again. Now the rumor is that J. Cole reached out to Kendrick to be on
Hmm.
this Drake song. We don't know. We'll never know as far as that's concerned. But for whatever reason, I don't know what prompted Kendrick to finally say something. So on that song, he said, after big three, it's just big me. And then at the end of the song, for all the dogs getting buried, that's a cave without the. So that was a direct shot.
Yeah.
So you're like, oh, wow, okay, this is finally Kendrick is addressing him. So that's kind of the first thing. In this, like you said, in this portion of
Hmm.
Kendrick calling him out. And so, I guess what, 6 weeks later, a month later, Drake, and I'm interested to hear what you think about this whole strategic thing as far as how Drake and his whole rollout of these songs and this beat. So Drake comes out with his 50 push-up song.
Yeah, push ups, that's what it's called.
Well, to me, first of all, it's sloppy because it was a
Yeah.
leak. Okay,
Mhm.
I they said it was AI. People are texting me, "Oh, is it real? Is it real?" So go ahead.
So, real quick, so the one that had AI was the one that came after the tailor-made freestyle. Yeah. So let me talk about this push-ups. I thought, like you said, push-ups was real weak, right? So one thing about push-ups is, he basically took shots at Kendrick's height. And the thing is, I feel
It
like
was
if you're
funny.
taking, I don't really think it's funny. I think that's the weakest thing you can do because, well, let me say this: I'm 6'2", so I'm not someone that's insecure about their height. But I've noticed is if you're making fun of somebody and you go for height, that's like you don't really have nothing else. You know what I mean? Like the height thing is very just simple, right? And then he says something like, "Oh yeah, you did verses for Taylor Swift and Maroon 5." Okay, so, like, because you already know Taylor Swift or Maroon 5 called Drake up, he'd be there on a plane real quick to do a verse for them. So I don't understand how he's dissing Kendrick for having crossover success, you know?
I When I first, I agree with you, sloppy rollout because it was a leak, which Drake is constantly getting leaked. That's a whole other separate conversation. So it's getting leaked. Is it a real verse? Is it not? He made fun of his height, made fun of his shoe size. I thought it was funny. One of the memorable lines for that one, he told Metro, "Shut up, make some drums." I thought that was really
Hmm.
funny.
Yeah.
But listen to that. It was a sloppy rollout. And is it real? So did he kind of confirm that it's real? Okay, I guess we found out later at night it was real. So then he actually releases the song, I think 3 or 4 days later, it goes up on his official YouTube, official Spotify. My thinking at the time, hearing how lighthearted it was, I'm saying he's setting up something because Drake has been through the abyss before. He's he has a plan. There's something
Hmm.
coming along with this that he's setting Kendrick up. And so when I heard that song, I said, okay, cool, nice little response. So I think it's going to be a nice little friendly sparring match, this and that. That AI song where he used Tupac's voice,
Yeah.
to me, I always said if they always came to a head, Kendrick Drake was never going to win this battle lyrically. It's never going to happen. Kendrick is a Pulitzer Prize award. Like, come on. Like,
Yeah.
Kendrick is a far better lyricist. But Drake is the king of social media, and that's why he's been able to maneuver for so long. I thought strategically that he was going to be able to use social media, different songs, kind of did what he did with Meek Mill, like with the back to back, make it a party anthem, which Kendrick might have doing later.
Yeah.
I thought that meant he was going to do. To me, once he did the AI stuff, I was like,
Yeah.
I'm out because you've already been accused of using ghostwriters. You're using Tupac's voice. Then you're taunting Kendrick saying you're not going to respond. Then he used Snoop Dogg's voice. Snoop is
Exactly.
alive.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
alive and well. What are
Hmm.
you doing?
Yeah. It's like I said earlier, he rides the coattails of other artists. He can't stand of his own on his own. So he's riding the coattails of Tupac and Snoop now. And the thing is people genuinely dislike AI, especially our millennial and I don't know about Gen Z, but millennial and older, they genuinely dislike AI. I don't know how I feel about it, but I definitely dislike it in this context. You can't just take somebody's voice and likeness without their permission, especially a person that's still alive, and then hide behind them. Basically, what he did was, he threw a rock at Kendrick and then he ran behind like his older brother or something and said, "Hey, protect me," and then he did it with an artist that's from the Bay, you know, like well, I don't know what he's thinking. Like, and the whole song is just weird. Like, yeah, man, you got it. Like Tupac's like, yeah, man, you got to go after Drake, bro. Blah blah blah, and it's just so lazy. It could have been good, but it was just lazy.
I think, yeah, I don't have nothing to add. I just thought that it was such a poor choice of a strategic move for him to come up with that
Mm-hmm.
song. I didn't like it. The AI thing really turned me off.
Mm-hmm.
And I just said, okay, whatever. And we wasn't even sure if Kendrick was going to respond because the thing with Kendrick doesn't drop a lot of music.
Yeah.
He's released, what, 5 albums? Like he
Mm-hmm.
releases albums every few years. He doesn't really do a lot of features, where Drake is the exact opposite. So we're like, is Kendrick even going to respond? So when he responds with Euphoria, you're like, oh, wow. I mean, a 6 minute song,
Mm-hmm.
3 beat switches. Uh, People say, oh, well, Kendrick made fun of his son. No, if you listen to Euphoria, he didn't make fun of his son. He made fun of Drake as a parent. That's
Yeah.
that's completely different. If you
Mm-hmm.
listen to the songs again, Kendrick said, listen, let's make it friendly, make it fair. I see where this is going. Let's not go there. Let's just keep it above board and go from there. I really like Euphoria. I listen to it a lot. and it just I really liked. He planted what I think Kendrick won, obviously.
Yeah, of course. There's no
He
doubt about
planted
that.
this. He planted the seed a little bit of how he was going to attack Drake. If you really listen to it, what Kendrick has said is not really different than what's been said about him for years. Accusing him of having ghostwriters, accusing him of not having his own style, accusing him of hiding his parents, the fact that his mom is Jewish. But the way Kendrick did it is the reason why they got the thing that it did, and I thought it was beautifully written. Um, and so I thought I love Euphoria. I love the style of it, the three beat switches. I really love how he started it off with that Richard Pryor sample from the Wiz, one of my favorite movies. Coincidentally, I didn't see the Wizard of Oz until the '90s.
Later.
My first visualization of the Wizard of Oz was the Wiz with Michael Jackson, Diana Ross. But everything they say about me is true. He just was just sprinkling little seeds of who is picking apart Drake's character. I like Drake with the melodies. I don't like when he act tough. All the stuff was said that it was beautifully written. I mean, the fact that he said, "I don't even want you to say the word,"
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And
it was
honestly, I feel him. I feel him. Like I'm gonna keep it real with you. The N word is something I've taken that out my vocabulary. Like this is way before this whole thing happened. You know, if you say it, you want to say it, it's no biggie. But I personally, I've decided like I'm kind of done with it. But yeah, yeah, man. Kendrick throughout this whole beef, Kendrick brought an artistry that Drake can't match, and one of the reasons for that is because Kendrick writes his own stuff. Drake has to go into the lab, get his stable of ghostwriters together, and they got to convene, and then they got to, crank it out. So Kendrick, like, so I got the list of the songs right here. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. It was 9 songs altogether with Drake and Kendrick. Kendrick
wow,
has
that's an album.
yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 songs, and Drake only has, well, he has 4. Well, 3 because we're not going to count the AI song. That don't count. And but Kendrick had an artistry to it, that Drake can't match. All of his songs they'll be remembered. The only one that might be remembered for Drake is Family Matters,
That
maybe.
was nice.
No, I don't really think it was nice. But before we get to that, let's talk about 616 in LA. Well, what's your thoughts on that one?
Hey, sorry to interrupt, but are you looking to reach a dynamic and engaged audience of curious minds? Well, look no further. Bright Brains Podcast is the perfect platform to showcase your business or product. You'll be able to reach a diverse and intelligent audience and engage with listeners passionate about personal development, technology, and more. Elevate your brand through thought-provoking discussions. Don't miss this opportunity to promote your business on one of the fastest growing podcasts in the market. Contact us today to discuss advertising options and elevate your brand to the next level. Contact us at brightbrainspod@gmail.com to secure your advertising spot on Bright Brains today. Again, that's Bright Brains with a Z pod pod @gmail.com. Now, back to the podcast.
Love it again. I mean, I'm a Kendrick fan, so I love. I mean, I have a Kendrick shirt on. You see in the video, so I love the 616 in LA. The fact that he uses a sample of a song that Drake's uncle was a composer on, just petty. Love it. But to me, you asked the question, what was the kind of the lines of the songs? To me, this is the line of the beef for me. When Kendrick says in that song, you can't simply slide out of this one. The facts are going to resurface. Every dog has its day. Now you got to live in your purpose. To me, that's the line of the battle.
Yeah.
Because now you can't hide anymore.
And that's something only a real poet can come up with. I just wanted to say that. Yeah. That's
no. Because if you break that line a little bit further, he had Tootsie Slide out of this one. Meaning, if you look at the past beef that Drake was in, he bowed out of the beef with Pusha T, whatever. But how did Drake wind up getting everybody back on his side? He made a hit.
Yeah.
How did he? One used to be growing up in the '90s, being not be able to write your own lyrics. That was blasphemous. Him to get called out on it with Meek Mill. But what happened? He took his spot out of it. He made back to back, wound up being number one song. So he always makes these, he's good at making whatever someone wrote it for him, he writes it for himself. He's good at making these hit songs, being on social media, being in it for that, and he spins out of everything. But Kendrick said, no, the fact's going to resurface. Every dog doesn't think you got to live in your purpose. So now he's saying, I'm calling you out. Everybody knows what you've done behind the scenes, in front of the scenes. The cease and desist stuff that he did with the Like That record that Metro Boomin posted the receipts on Twitter, disgusting, whatever.
Wait, hold on. He posted he did a cease and desist on Like That?
So allegedly, Drake is trying to get a cease and desist to get that song Like That taken off of the radio or taken down. And so if you listen to Euphoria, Kendrick says it in a verse. He said, cease and desist like that. He didn't like that record. I'm gonna get back to that for the record. So he says it. And if you go on Metro Boomin's social media, you go on his X account, he posts, it's kind of confusing, but he posted an email showing that a representative from the label is saying that this song is not going to get taken down. So that's his supposed proof that Drake tried to put a cease and desist to Like That record taken down.
But how would he even be able to do that? Like, on what grounds could he do a cease and desist?
I have no clue. I mean, because it's not like the only time you can do a cease and desist, not the only time. Someone more knowledgeable can expand upon that. But number one, it's a sample that it's not Drake's sample. It's not a sample of his song. They're not utilizing his voice. It's a sample of another two songs from the 80s, an Eazy-E sample and another sample. Why would you get that taken down? And then if you even, it's not even nothing being said crazy, which some crazy stuff is being said later. Why would you get that taken down? So supposedly, and the rumor is that Drake does this before, where there's records that come up, he tries to get cease and desist taken away from that. But for that 616 in LA, he's picking at Drake a little bit more. So like I said, that line, you got to live in your purpose. Really how Kendrick flowed in and out of the song, really loved it. The fact that I live in LA, my wife literally woke me up at 6:30 in the morning. She said, babe, Kendrick released another song. I said, it's 6:30 in the morning. What are you talking about? And so the fact that he released it, again, going back at Kendrick or Drake does these timestamp pieces where he does 4 p.m. in Calabasas, 5 a.m. in Toronto. That's kind of his timestamp pieces that he likes to do. It can part him at that. Beautiful song by Kendrick. And it's really, I think it's going to be forgotten because it's not on Spotify. I don't understand why it's not on Spotify. I saw Al Green, which was the artist he sampled. I saw he cleared the sample. I'm not sure it's why. But that song is going to be forgotten, but I really like 616 in LA.
Yeah, same. So, all right, the next song, Family Matters. And you said you like this song, but here's why I don't like this song, because it's continuing the same pattern of riding coattails and hiding behind other rappers. So there's one lyric in here where he says, you know who really bang a set? My N-word YG. You know who really bang a set? My N-word Chuck T. You know who even bang a set out there is CB, meaning Chris Brown. And N-word Cole losing sleep on this, it ain't me. So there he is. He's saying YG, Chuck T, CB. There he is, using other rappers to try and hide behind them and use them as his bona fides. And then, like in the music video, he has like the G Unit chain or whatever, which wasn't the real G Unit chain. You seen the music video for it?
Yeah, I saw it. I
Yeah.
actually saw the video first before I listened to. I saw the video first. So yeah, I saw the video with the Pharrell chains that Pharrell gave him from Virgil. Yep,
hmm Yeah.
the
It's like
FUBU jacket that Kendrick mentioned.
yep. It's just him like hiding behind other rappers trying to prove himself, you know? And it's like saying, hey, I'm connected to these rappers, therefore I'm somebody. Whereas Kendrick is standing on his own.
You know, I agree with you. I didn't understand that line from Drake because that album, the whole album, Good Kid, Mad City. We Kendrick is saying, what is the album saying? Kendrick is from Compton. He's been abundantly clear. We all know the history of Compton as far as the gang culture and the things that started there. But Kendrick said, I grew up in this city, but this is not me. I'm not a gang member. I'm not a part of gang culture. I grew up in it. So I didn't understand it. Why is Drake trying to accuse Kendrick of not being something that he's not? I didn't quite understand that.
Yeah.
Um, I also think I like the song. I also think it was just interesting that I lost my point, but I thought it was just interesting that one of the things people say, oh well, there's so many different artists that called out Drake. You know, Rick Ross sending shots at him, Metro Boomin, other artists, but they're not important. We said there's a big three in hip hop. It's Kendrick, Drake, and
J.
Cole.
Cole.
So you need to just focus on that. The grave mistake, which he did, and I'll probably finish the song. I like the song. I like it in the three beat switches. He addressed what Kendrick said in Euphoria. That line was powerful too about the Tommy Hilfiger line and FUBU. People who are of age, they know the unfortunate things of Tommy Hilfiger. Unfortunately, there was no internet in the '90s, so we heard that he was a racist.
Yeah, I remember that.
Clothes for black people. We found out that was not true, unfortunately, but in the '90s we didn't have that. So
Mm-hmm.
I had a FUBU jacket, so that resonated with me. There's a picture of me as a 14-year-old with a brown FUBU jacket on. So that line
Yeah.
resonated with me. I like how Drake in the video had a FUBU jacket on. But again, he's collecting all of these chains. He's showing these things off. He's in the restaurant, the New Ho King, where Kendrick mentioned that he was robbed. A nice touch. He's in the restaurant. I like the song. I like the three beat switches. I like how he said Kendrick just opens his mouth. Someone just hit a Grammy right now. I like that line. Because every time Kendrick pretty much opens his mouth, he wins a Grammy, which I like that. I like how he
Is
said that.
that a diss though? Is that a diss? That would be like if I was a basketball player and I said LeBron James just stepped on the court, give him a championship ring. Like, is that a diss?
Yeah,
You know?
it's not really a diss. I guess he's just trying to say that reading between the lines, he's once again subliminally dissed Kendrick by saying that because Kendrick doesn't release a lot of music, anytime he releases an album, he's getting a Grammy because of the infrequency of the music. I guess that's what Drake is saying. And so I thought that line was funny about how Drake had over his mouth, he gets a Grammy. But he was trying to be funny. Like he said that Kendrick has his back on the curve, meaning that the short joke that she didn't like again. But the key part in this song, Kendrick said 3 times, hey, don't mention my family. Don't mention my fiance or lifelong partner. Do not mention. He accused Drake, goes on to accuse his partner, Dave Free, of being the child of Kendrick. Kendrick's son is really Dave Freeze. Okay?
Yeah, it's
Whatever.
wild.
And then he's accusing Kendrick's of being domestic violence.
Yeah.
That was all he wrote right there. Because
Yeah.
what happens, and then I don't want to spin it too far forward, but 30 minutes later, Kendrick has a response.
Yep. And let me
Meaning,
say this.
go ahead.
I was gonna say the thing about this song is this was Drake and his ghostwriters. This was their best effort. They put everything they had into this song, in my opinion. And the one thing about this song is this, in my opinion, it's way too long. It's just meandering. It could have been a lot shorter, but
I heard that a lot too.
yeah, they were up all night writing this out, and they put all of their effort into there, and then they thought, oh yeah, we did this, man, we got something here, and then Kendrick just came and took the wind right out of their sails. And like after that, at once Kendrick dropped "Meet the Grams,"
It's
that
over.
was it. Yeah, that was it. You know.
But you know what? What's the following up on that? Listening to what Drake said, he said, "I'm taking a year off. I'm done." Like, so he's like saying this is a victory lap. He said, "Oh, I'm about to go on vacation for a year." So he's like thinking, "Oh, I'm done." Number one, he shot a video for this.
Yeah.
He gets the van, which is not the right van from the Kid Mad City, but okay, we get the sentiment. He shoots the van. He's in. But then you're saying that you're taking a year off. You take 4 days to shoot this video. Obviously, Kendrick knew something. He knew Kendrick that Drake was dropping.
Yeah.
I don't know if you listened to the Joe Budden podcast because I got that from there and I didn't even pick it up. Drake had wound up forming this habit where Drake tends to drop songs on Friday nights, on Thursday nights, and Friday nights. And he's shooting a video. So obviously Kendrick knew or had an idea that Drake was going to drop a video. So he's dropping us. Does a budget for a video, does his long song.
Mm-hmm.
And then 30 minutes later, he drops Meet the Grams. But I honestly think that some people say that Kendrick go too far. I think the accusation that they throw on each other is disgusting. Okay, yeah, pedophilia, it's really nothing to play with. Domestic violence, nothing to play with.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like he said, he warned them. He was like, look, you don't have to stoop this low. So I think the moment Kendrick heard that he was attacking his partner and these accusations, I think Kendrick had a bunch of songs ready to go.
Yeah, yeah.
I think he had a lighthearted songs that he was going to play. Mm-hmm. He just said, no matter what he drops, I'm dropping at 30 minutes after. And we were so crazy, Isaac. We all like, that weekend was crazy.
Yeah, well.
My friends sending me songs, me sending me songs. I'm interested to hear how you heard it being on the East Coast and being so late. Because go ahead.
Honestly, I felt like, I had just listened to Family Matters. And then as soon as I heard Family Matters, it was like, damn, Meet the Grams was right there. It was like right there, and that's like, I didn't even have time to like really marinate on Family Matters, because Kendrick just came and just took the wind out of his sails. And like I was saying earlier, Kendrick writes his own stuff. So even if, I know you said he probably had it in the chamber ready to go, I don't even know if he did. He probably just heard that. Well, yeah, I guess he probably did because, you got to go to the studio and record and then mix and master stuff. So, but he's able to have a quicker turnaround. So he has an advantage over Drake. And, people are saying, you were just saying maybe he took it too far. I don't think he took it too far. He took it to the level that Drake took it to. Like you were saying earlier, Kendrick wanted to just kind of keep it on some friendly, but, Drake took it lower because that's all Drake has. He's not a talent. He's not a writer. He has to go low, So Kendrick went lower. He talked about Adonis, he said,
but the first line of the song, "Dear Adonis, I'm sorry that your man is your father."
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's the first line of the song.
Yeah. That's like a punch to the nuts right there, because as a man, if somebody coming to you and saying, damn, I'm sorry, that's your father. And he says, let's see here, I look at him and wish your grandpa would have wore a condom. I'm like, God damn, dude, like that's wild, man. Like he came in just throwing the hate.
It was a therapy session.
Yeah, yeah.
He talked to his son. He talked to his grandmother, Drake's mom. He talked to his father.
Yep.
Like, I think what was so chilling is, for me, so my friend texted me at 7 p.m. California time and said, hey, Drake just dropped. I said, bet. I watched Family Matters. I was like, okay, it's cool. I like it. Just like you, I didn't even get a chance to listen to it for a second time. I listened to the song. I went to get something to eat. I'm sitting in the car waiting for my food. I texted my friend, another friend. I said, "Hey, Drake, he said, "Hey, I'm putting my son to bed. I'm going to listen to the song in like 30 minutes." I texted him again. I said, "Hey, Kendrick just dropped another diss song." He said, "What?"
Hmm. Yeah.
I said, "He dropped another song." And then what was so chilling is the fact that Family Matters ended on an upbeat swing. Drake is rapping fast, upbeat, kind of a party kind of. And then you hear those chilling piano keys that Alchemist did. And the first line is "Dear Adonis, that you sorry that you." Oh my God! Like
Yeah.
it was haunting hearing that.
Yeah, it was, man. And then he said he talked to his mom. Like he said, "Dear Sandra, your son got some habits. I hope you don't undermine them, especially with all the girls that's hurt inside this climate." And I'm like, damn, I never seen that happen before. He talking to his mom like that. Like, damn, dude. And then like thing is that like I'm pretty sure Drake's mom, you know, that's like if and most men, their mom is their most important person in their life,
Facts.
other than their wife. And so for him to just like do that, like damn, you know, and I can't even say it was on some disrespectful stuff because everything he was saying was true. Like you gave birth to a master manipulator, even using you to prove who he is a huge favor. And I'm like, damn, dude, like,
What
and
about the
take it.
cover art? What about the cover art for Meet the Grounds?
Hold on. I haven't seen the cover art. Let's see here.
Because if you look at 616 in LA, the cover art
Yeah.
was a glove, two Maybach gloves. And
Mhm.
I'm like, where are these gloves? Like, what is Kendrick talking about? And if you listen to Euphoria, he said there's a leak in your account.
Mm,
They're playing you.
yeah,
So you're like, okay, is this Drake's gloves? But I know he has a Maybach. What is this? Then you look at then he released the cover art for Meet the Grams. And it's the same picture as 16 in LA, but now it's blown up. It's zoomed out.
yeah.
Now you see pills that's associated with Drake, what's the pen that could
Prescription.
help him lose weight? Yeah, because the
Oh,
pen helps people lose Ozempic.
yeah,
So you're seeing all this stuff, and you're like, this is Drake stuff. How did Kendrick get this? Now we'll get to the part six where Drake claims that he fed Kendrick the stuff. I don't believe it, but whatever.
I don't either. I don't
Yeah,
either.
but whatever. How did Drake?
Mm,
But the fact that you see the cover art of pills, of shirts, of stuff belonging to Drake, it just really added to the seed that Kendrick had been planting since before of
yep.
everything that he was saying. And then the accusation that Drake has another daughter, Drake denied it, whatever. Even if you chop off that part of that verse, I still think it's a dope song. It's hard to listen to that song because it was so dark.
Hmm.
But again, it goes into Kendrick's songwriting ability. The fact that he can craft stories. One of my favorite songs from Kendrick is the 8-minute song called Sing About Me, I'm Dying of Thirst. Love that song. Like his ability to storytell is impeccable. So for him to be able to do this and talk to his parents, talk to his son, and
Yeah,
then he expands on the further accusations of him, abusing women or taking advantage of women, drugging women. Yeah,
yeah, man. So like the song that came after this, honestly, was "Not Like Us." And if "Not Like Us" was the kill shot, then like "Meet the Grams" was basically pretty much like Drake being bloodied. He's like in front of Kendrick on his knees, and Kendrick has a gun like to his temple, and "Not Like Us" was just like him assassinating Drake, as like what do you call it, assassination style, like that was the final blow. But like "Meet the Grounds" was the send up. Honestly, he probably could have just ended it with "Meet the Grounds," but like "Not Like Us" was just him burying Drake. You know.
Well, it goes to number one, the song is incredible.
Mm.
And what Kendrick did is he out Drake. He made a party song. Not Like Us was number one in 40 different countries at one point. I think it still is the number one song in America on Spotify. I've
Yeah.
seen Not Like Us, like you said, played at bar mitzvahs. I've seen it played in clubs in South Africa. I've seen acoustic versions.
Hey,
He
what
took
version?
with acoustic. I've seen
Oh,
guitar versions
acoustic. Yeah, yeah.
of people just singing it. What he did is he took a song and he made it an anthem.
Mm-hmm.
The DJ Mustard, like I said, I'm from the Bay Area. So a lot of what Mustard does, he takes those kind of rhythms from the Bay Area, kind of melds into his sound. Then how Kendrick is rapping on him. When he said, I'm trying to strike a chord and it's probably A minor.
Oh man. And supposedly the whole song was in A minor. I don't know if that's true or not. Somebody on TikTok said that. I don't know if that's the truth, but you know,
I'm not a musical major. I wouldn't doubt it with
yeah,
Kendrick. I think they said Meet the Gramps was in B minor or A, whatever. But the song was incredible. It's a party song. It's an anthem. At the end, he's trying to keep doing a call and response to try to get you to dance.
yeah,
You're dancing, and that's exactly what Drake did with Meek Mill. After that was a smash. He played it in clubs. This song will not only be played, it will be played forever.
yeah, yeah.
Then he not only is it an anthem, he gives you a history lesson for the third lesson, for the third
Oh
one,
yeah, yeah. But let me let's
the
see
third
here.
verse. He gives you a history lesson.
It says, "Once upon a time, all of us was in chains. Homie still doubled down, calling us some slaves." Now, here's the thing, too. You know, he said that lyric where he was like, Kendrick rapping like he trying to free the slaves. Okay, that's not a diss, especially to us. We're both African American, descended from slaves. That's not a diss. He want to rap like he trying to free the slaves. We love Harriet Tubman. We love Frederick Douglass,
We
Martin
appreciate
Luther
it.
King. Yeah,
Their struggles.
exactly. And then, in
Malcolm X.
fact, yep, there was another song that Drake did a while back. I can't remember what it was, but he said something like "whip
Find you
and
out.
chain you," huh? Yeah,
Find you out.
"whip and chain you like American slaves." Like what? Like what? That's not even clever. Like what? Like what I'm saying? That just speaks to his outsider status. You know, and
But he's black.
yeah, he's half black, but he's an outsider. He was raised in Canada. He has
Yeah.
a very tangential connection to blackness. I don't know what his relationship is with his father. I don't know if they're close or not. But like Drake's father was in jail for most of his childhood or prison. Um, so I don't really know how close they are. But I don't want to sound like a broken record, but let me finish it. He said, Atlanta was the Mecca, building railroads and chains. Bear with me for a second. Let me put y'all on game. The settlers was using town folk to make them richer. Fast forward to 2024, you got the same agenda. You run to Atlanta when you need a check balance. Let me break it down for you. This the real inward challenge. You call Future when you didn't see the club. Little Baby helped you get your lingo up. 21 gave you false street cred. Thug made you feel like you a slime in your head.
I'm in your head.
Yep. Quavo said you can be from Northside. 2 Chainz said you good, but he lied. You run to Atlanta when you need a few dollars. You not a colleague, you a fucking colonizer. The family matter and the truth of the matter, it was God's plan to show y'all the liar. Whoa, man. Oh man, I got something in my eye real quick. But yeah, man, that right there. Like I said, he's a poet. He's
He
a
took
true
a
writer.
party anthem.
Yep.
This song be played, and he gives you a history lesson. Who does that?
Yeah. Only he. Only he can.
And then going back to what you said earlier, people could accuse Kendrick of writing slow or whatever. Kendrick writes when he's inspired.
Mm-hmm.
He was inspired. Inspired. I'm sure he has multiple versions of these songs.
Mm-hmm.
For him to do what he did, and look at the timeline. Meet the Grams came out, or Family Matters dropped at 7 p.m. California time.
Yep.
8 o'clock, Here comes Meet the Grams. Not like us at 5 o'clock the next day.
Yep.
Did Kendrick sleep? Did he go to bed?
Nope. He was
I
upright.
mean,
Like I said, that's his advantage, man. He's quick. Like I'm pretty sure, like if somebody wanted to make an analogy to war, like the soldiers that can move around the battlefield quicker are going to have an advantage than the large units that can't get around. That's what Drake is. He's like, Kendrick Lamar is Vietnam and Drake is America. Vietnam beat America, because they knew the terrain. And that's the perfect analogy for Kendrick Lamar. And then the last part, and this song, if I was Drake, I would have just left this in the draft. So I wouldn't even put it out, man. But the heart part 6, yeah, it's just weak. It's deflated, and it's really just Drake kind of waving the white flag.
he said, "I'm too rich to be a pedophile." What does that? What?
Exactly. You know what? That makes no sense, especially when you take into a fact like Epstein.
Rich.
Like, yeah. I mean, pretty much to be a pedophile, you got to be rich. You know what I'm saying? Like all the people who've been accused of pedophilia, R. Kelly, Jimmy Savile, he's a guy from the UK, the royal family, they've been accused of that stuff. I mean, what kind of sense does that make? I'm too rich to be a pedophile. And then here's what gets me the most about that song. Let me pull the lyrics up. There was a part in there where he tried to allude to Kendrick being molested. Let me pull this up.
Right. You go up. And here's the thing. He misinterpreted the song where Kendrick spoke about it. The thing going back to the song that Kendrick did on his last album, Missed Him Around the Big Steppers, and the song is called Mother I Sober. The song is talking, and it's a hard song to listen to. I appreciate it, but it's a hard song to listen to. And the song alludes to Kendrick possibly be molested. But in the song, Kendrick says, "My mother asked me, was I molested, or did he touch me?" Kendrick says no. So Drake doesn't even listen to the song, and he says that he tries to allude to the fact that he was molested, which is kind of weird because you are defending yourself from pedophilia accusations, but then you're talking about someone being molested. It's trash. But do you have the lyrics?
Yeah. So here's what it is. He says, "My mother came over today, and I was like, mother, mother. Ah, wait a second. That's that one record where you say you got molested. Ah, fuck me. I just made the whole connection. This is about to get so depressing. This is trauma from your own confessions. This when your father leave you home alone with no protection, so neglected. That's why these pedophile raps is shit you so obsessed with. It's so excessive. They acting like it's so aggressive." So here's the thing, okay? Listen.
It's terrible.
Pedophilia is the worst crime a person can commit, right? You don't have to be molested to hate pedophilia. So the thing he's saying, oh, the reason you're so angry about this is because you got molested. No, you don't have to be molested to hate pedophilia. Everybody hates pedophilia. You know what I'm saying? It don't matter who you are. Like, everybody that's a moral, upstanding person hates pedophilia. So for him to say, "Oh, you're only angry because you got molested," it's like, dude, what are you talking about?
Yeah, the thing is with so many things bad. At first, number one, to go back to one of the points you said, this song was way too long. Okay, it was 6 minutes. He's not bringing up anything new. He's just defending himself. I want people, if they go back and listen to these songs, look at the tone that Drake had in the tailor-made song that was deleted. He's saying he's taunting him. He's saying he's not going to respond. He listen to Family Matters. He sounds like it's a victory lap. Like it's over. Listen to just his tone in the hard part 6. He sounds defeated.
Yeah.
He sounds tired. He sounds irritated. Like, the the response, it was way too long. He's not bringing up anything else. He's playing defense, and he tried to now because if you read the part, he says, "I know you're going to respond." At the end of the song, when he just rambling, "I know you're going to respond in 5 minutes."
Yeah,
He didn't
and he didn't
respond.
respond either. And he didn't
He
respond.
didn't. There's no point of a
Mm-hmm.
dead horse at that point. He said, "You could send 100 times. I'm not going to respond." Like, he just sounds so defeated. He tried to respond very quickly, but could call the hard part six because Kendrick has a series where he calls it the heart. He has a heart part one, two, three, four, five.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was a bad idea. I honestly think at that point, someone called Drake and was like, "Look, you got to stop. Like, you got to get
Yeah,
out of this. Like,
you're ruining the brand. Yeah,
yeah,
and so
you're
check
ruining
this
the
out.
brand." Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
go ahead.
I mean, so check this out. There's more to that lyric I missed. So he says, "Touch My Body" by Mariah Carey play. You probably start reflecting. I never been with no one underage, but now I understand why. This the angle that you really mess with. Just for clarity, I feel disgusted. I'm too respected. If I was fucking young girls, I promise I'd have been arrested. That whole lyric, it's like, dude, Touch My Body by Mariah Carey, come on, you probably start reflecting. Like, that's so fucking gross. Like, what is this dude? Like, he needs to fire this ghostwriter. Whoever,
I think he
whoever
wrote
came
that.
up, he
I think he
probably
wrote
did,
this
dude.
one.
Yeah, he probably did. And then he says, if I was touching young girls, I probably would have been arrested. Like, dude, we're just now finding out about the stuff that Diddy did. Well, not finding out. It's been rumors for a long time, but
But
Diddy
in the
is just now.
90s,
Yeah, Diddy is just now facing repercussions. How long was Bill Cosby doing what he was doing? How long
that's the
was
60s and 70s. Yeah,
exactly? How long was Weinstein doing what he was doing?
years.
Just because you're rich, that being rich protects you, if anything. You know, that's how they're able to get away with this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was just, again, strategically poor. Because if you're calling someone out, which they've been doing to each other for years, you would think you have some stuff ready to go, right?
Yeah,
You have these angles. But the thing is, because Drake is such an open book, he has different stuff you can go at him with. But what did Kendrick say in Euphoria? I'm sorry I live a boring life. He doesn't do anything. He
yeah,
records, he spends time with his family, he goes on tour, he goes home. You don't see Kendrick out in clubs and do all and there's nothing wrong with that. But in a battle, you open yourself up for different angles for people to attack you by you doing this. And I'm sorry, once again, what happens this past weekend? More leaked songs come out with
mm,
Drake in the reference tracks of him using these songs. And so it's just like for you to be this big of an artist, to go into this battle with these big skeletons in your closet, I yeah.
do you think there's any truth to this stuff about him being a sex offender? Because I know a while back, when it came out that he was texting Millie Bobby Brown and things like that, I thought that was real suspect. And then like Millie Bobby Brown said, like, yeah, we talk about boys and things like that. I'm like, hold on, bro. First of all, I don't even have, you shouldn't have no minor number in your cell phone. It's not a family member. And even then, you shouldn't be texting them, especially about boys. And I think they said like he had took her out on dates or something like that. That's wild, man.
Yeah, I mean, look, these accusations are pretty hideous and pretty disgusting. I'm just going
Mm,
to say, I think that what his mistake is when you are someone who enjoys women and enjoys being with different types of women, I think those accusations come apart when you're dealing with women that are a little bit younger. I mean,
yeah,
like I said, he's almost 40 years old.
yeah,
I'm sure you have nieces and nephews and cousins that are in their 20s.
yeah.
And so I think that's where he's getting towards. Are they underage? I don't know. We haven't heard that yet, and I'm sure stuff is going to come out. I just think that because he is with a lot of different women, and they're probably a lot younger than him, I think that's where it goes down to. And I think that's where the issue is, and also look at what Kendrick has done, being authentically himself. He calls out himself in his last album for cheating on his partner, right?
Mm-hmm.
That he's been unfaithful to her, that he's been with these women. So he pulled the Eminem card where it's like, look, I'm going to call myself out and say, this is what I have done. And I'm getting help. I'm doing therapy. I'm getting better. And then, that Drake's kind of hiding behind it. So I don't think he has. I sure hope he hasn't. But like you said, he's a business at this point. Our,
Mm-hmm.
there is a 400, there's millions and millions and millions of dollars behind Drake. You cannot have your institution having these accusations fan out of him. And so if you noticed, we've heard nothing from him since then. Now I know there's rumors that he's going to be featured on another pop star's song. And so, we'll see how that goes. But I know you asked me this question. Where does Drake kind of go from here? Because I think we're all kind of saying that Kendrick won this. Where does he go
Mm-hmm.
from here?
That's a great question, man. Recently he did a song with Sexy Red, and they're rapping on the BBL Drizzy beat.
I love
You
that.
know,
I like that. He got to lean into it.
you think that's a good idea? I think he shouldn't have done that. I think that is admitting defeat. I know people are probably thinking like, oh yeah, he's laughing at himself, ha ha ha. Nah, he shouldn't have did that. I think if I was Drake, I would lay low for a bit and then just like not put anything out and then come back with a resurgence. Like just come back, like get my ghostwriters, have them work overtime, just get some of the best beat makers in the game, and just come back with a vengeance. But don't mention Kendrick or anything like that. Just come back in with a vengeance and remind people about who I am and why I'm so great. But for him to rap on that song, it's like he's making himself a clown, you know?
But isn't he already a clown? Like he makes fun of. I think what he has. I see your point, and I at some points I do agree with you. I think we all know he right. I mean, not like us, number one in so many different countries. You have to lean into it at this point. You can't run away. I mean, look. I think I'm not going to show you a social media video. The New Home King restaurant in Toronto, they have a Kendrick special.
Yep, yeah.
I saw the video of him being at I think a Toronto Maple Leafs game. They played like us. You
Yep,
can't run from this at this point. So you kind of have to embrace it. So
yeah.
you have to embrace the fact, just make fun of yourself, poke fun of yourself. I think that I 100% agree with your last point. You just need to come out, try to tushy slide your way out of it. Lay low for a little bit and just do what you he's broken the Beatles record. He's broken Michael Jackson's record. You can never take that away from him. And so give yourself some time. He's going to craft hits. There's an in machine behind him. He's going to be able to continue to produce it. I think he needs to lay low, I say leaning more into the pop stuff, the melodic stuff, leaning more into that. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah, I think he's gonna move on, but I don't think his career is ever gonna be the same. I think that he has been knocked down from his pedestal. And I think what you said about him moving more into the pop lane, I think that would probably be the best way to go. Like just move more into like make songs similar to like what the Weeknd is doing, which is ironic because he stole a lot of songs from the Weeknd. But I would move more into that lane, and then I would maybe like put out 2 or 3 albums, maybe just 2 more albums, and then he needs to just like go into his greatest hits era. I think he needs to take a break, and just kind of just tour, get a residency in Las Vegas or something, and just like call it a quit, call it a day. Like he too old for this, man. I think
Well,
that
when you say when he's not going to be the same, I mean, look, we've been both acknowledged. Drake has been the number one artist for hip hop. I mean, 10 plus years, right? He's been in the game for 15 plus years. So his run just naturally, just like LeBron. I mean, you only can be number one for so long. But do you think it's this cliff this battle was so damaging that he's just not going to sell as much. He's not going to be on the forefront. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah, I think his image has been tarnished. He's no longer the king of hip hop right now. I think
Mhm.
that moniker is kind of up for the taking. I don't know if Kendrick is going like has taken it, but I think if I was him right now, I would be working on an album. And I'm pretty sure he is, but he needs to drop an album within 6 months. And don't even mention Drake, but just assert himself as why I am the new king of hip hop. Because right now the throne is for the taking. There's nobody else. He's been knocked off, and yeah, like Drake it's time for him to go into the greatest hits era. Because here's the thing, not like us. That's going to be played at every high school football,
Forever,
basketball game. Yeah,
forever.
that's going to be like a hit. Like
Marching
anytime
bands.
yeah. That game that's gonna be like the most sampled song like of all time, man. Like,
Yeah.
Kendrick's got it. Yeah. He's on fire, man.
But I
Um
do think what's interesting, and I want to hear your next point. When you look at both of these artists, right?
mhm.
Drake has smashed all these records, the Beatles, Michael Jackson's. But people forget Kendrick's album, Good Kid, Mad City, has been on the Billboard charts. It's the longest charting album, hip hop album, maybe I don't know of all albums, longest charting hip hop album of all time. That album came out 10 plus years ago.
Mhm.
It's the quality over quantity piece.
Yep.
And so it's very interesting how you have someone who puts out so much music and is successful, but someone puts out fewer, but it's so high quality that it leaves people. And Kendrick said that he said you make songs that pacify, I make songs that electrify them. So,
Yep.
but yeah,
Like the
go ahead.
saying like the saying goes, it's quality over quantity. You know, you people well, like when you see Kendrick, you're getting quality. Like it's some people when you see an album, you just buy it. Like for example, Kanye West used to have that kind of like quality. Like when I saw a Kanye West album back when people actually still bought CDs. Like if I was in store and I saw a Graduation in store, boom, I buy it.
Classic.
But yeah, nowadays, like if I don't even know if they even sell CDs, like maybe Walmart. If I see Vultures, I'm not buying that. And it's no offense. I know there are artists out there who, they make good songs, but I'm not gonna buy it. I'm gonna stream it. Like someone J. Cole, that's quality. Kendrick, of course, that's quality. It's not too many artists out there right now, hip hop artists that you're gonna get a quality album that's gonna be listened to forever and ever.
No, because the thing is that this era is different. This era is all
Mm-hmm.
about streaming, all about algorithms. How Drake has set up his albums, it's playlists. No cohesive theme to it, which is fine. I like I listen to Drake a lot, but I listen at the gym because he makes good gym music for me.
Mm-hmm.
He makes a lot of gym music that I play, but there's really no theme to his songs. There's no theme to his projects. It's not a
Yeah.
cohesive piece.
And earlier you mentioned you were like, yeah, he broke the Beatles record, he broke Michael Jackson's record. When I hear that kind of stuff, I take that with a grain of salt because one, they say that about everybody. It seems like nowadays. Oh, and the thing is, the reason they say that is because, like you said, the culture is different now. Back in the Michael Jackson's day or the Beatles' day, people actually had to drive or get on the bus or get a taxi and go to a store and buy a record and then take that record and take it home and then put it on a machine and put the needle on the record and actually listen. Nowadays, you just pull up your phone, hop on YouTube or Spotify, and then boom, it's not the same. So when people say like, "Oh, Taylor Swift, she did this, and that," I'm like, okay, we get music instantaneously now, and that's kind of why so much music is just superfluous now. It's easier to create the music because all you can get on an iPad, get GarageBand or Fruity Loops, and then do it all on an iPad, put it up on SoundCloud, and then boom. There used to be a time where, like Like let's say you're Prince, you're recording, you're on tour. After you go on stage, you're going to the nearest studio in whatever city you're at with your people, and then going to the studio and actually making music. It used to be a time you actually had to have instruments. You had to have people who play instruments. So I'm getting long-winded, but basically what I'm saying is I don't like to compare artists of today to the past because they actually had to get people out of their house and go somewhere. Imagine dropping an album and it's a snowstorm the night before. The streets aren't clear. It's snow everywhere. People still got up to go get Michael Jackson or the Beatles or Prince and things like that. You know, it's just a different era. So
Yeah, it's a
I'm not
different era, and I
trying to.
respect it.
Yeah,
No, I
I'm
respect it. I
respecting.
mean, you, I for 10.99 a month, I have every single album that's out. I can get anything right now on
Yeah,
Spotify. I can listen to any artist, their whole discography, their whole collection. But back in those days, you spend 10.99, you are maybe getting an album.
yeah. Maybe
So
not even that. Maybe an LP. You know,
yeah, I mean, I remember growing up, I used to go to Walmart. Remember they used to sell the CD singles?
oh yeah, yeah, the singles. Yeah, I remember the singles. Yeah.
I would go to Walmart and I think the singles, if I'm mistaken, they were maybe like $3 or $4. So I would take my little allowance money and I would buy 3 or 4 singles just so I can have it. But
Hmm.
I had to make that $10 stretch because
Yeah.
these are songs that I really, really like. So I had to help. My mom had to take me to the store or my dad or whoever. Um, Even back in those days, I know we're probably sounding old, but I used to have to, you did the same thing. I used to have to listen to the radio, listen to for the songs that I wanted, and I would record that song on
Yeah.
the tape
I remember that too. And here's the thing
just so
too.
I can play
If
it. So there's a much more respect and care for music during those times.
no, you're good. You're good. You also, if you want to hear a song on the radio, you had to call the station and request it.
This sounds
This
so
last,
old.
yeah, I know, right? Like back in my day, we used to take the
Yo, this
cassette
sounds
tape.
so old. But I
Yeah,
know one thing that you mentioned that I wanted to say, and you had this in the question in here, as far as the amount of time that it takes for artists to come up with songs. And you mentioned as far as is this the best beef of all time or one of the best beefs. Remember when Jay-Z came out with Takeover?
hmm
It took 6 months, or I can't remember who was first, Ether or Takeover, whatever it was. It took 6 months for the other person to respond.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because they had to get the band together. Literally, they had to get studio time. They had to write. You know, get the people to play instruments. It was a longer time. You know, they didn't have quick turnaround like they do now. And you know, I think this quick turnaround and then maybe the easy nature is kind of a blessing and a curse. You know, because now like some of these artists, you listen to them, and I'm like, you know, what is this, man? You know, they just wouldn't have cut it in the 90s. You know, it wouldn't have cut it in the early 2000s. You know, what gets me now is there were artists where they won't even sample a beat. They'll just take a beat that's already been used, you know, and then reuse that. Like, oh man, this on the drive today. I don't even know the name of the artist, man, but they took that PD Pablo Freakily beat and they just rapping on it. And I'm like,
I think it's Sweetie.
maybe, yeah, maybe it was. And then here's the thing. I'm glad you brought her up. What happened to her? She was hot for a minute and she just faded away. You know.
And this goes into the nature of right now, the flavor of the day is Sexy Red,
Mm-hmm.
Big Lotto,
Yeah.
Glorilla. Even Meg Thee Stallion, she's coming back now. There's different things that happen to her, but right now, these are the women that's kind of running hip hop. Sexy Red is the hottest name, which is
Yeah.
why, of course, going back to the topic, Drake attaches his name to her.
Mm-hmm.
She's the hottest thing going right now. And so if you are not in that churn of constantly putting out music that people like, you fall to the wayside. I mean,
Exactly.
there was a
Like
thing that
Ice
happened.
Spice. Like what happened to
I
Ice
Spice,
Spice?
she's the flavor. Right now, she's the flavor of the month. And I'm sure there's other women that I'm missing out right now.
Mm-hmm.
But Sweetie, at one point, she has millions of followers. She came with the album and no one even listened to it.
Exactly. Exactly. That's the
So
issue. It's a lot of these followers are fake, man. A lot of them
No,
are bought, you know,
no,
and it's like I think J. Cole had a song. He said something like they getting their views from machines or something like that. You know, there are places in the Philippines or in some
stream
third
farms.
world countries, yeah, they'll just stream it. And so it's like, again, how do we know they're breaking these records? How do we know they're legitimate when they have stream farms? You know?
That's fair. No,
Yeah, yeah.
that's more than fair. And I mean, that's fair as far as with Drake and it's just a different era, right? It's the same way with football. You know, the records that are broken now, there's more games that being played now. It's more of a
Mm-hmm.
passing league. Basketball, there's more 3 pointers being shot, so records going to be falling. So it's just a different era, but it is different where you have to go to the stores and buy the record. And so I do think that this beef will go down is the biggest. Not that I don't know what's going to happen years from now, but I think it's because of the pace of the songs that we got,
Mm-hmm.
the social media presence, and everything behind that. Because to me, the Jay Z and Nas thing, I grew up to that, but I was in California, right? So I wasn't in New York listening to the radio.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wait to hear Take Over. I had to wait to hear Ether. Which Drake dropped a song, I got texted in 5 minutes.
Yeah, I know, right?
That a
It's
song.
like instantaneously, yeah. And the thing is too, is like we have
And
meme
then we get to hear
culture.
the reaction from everybody.
Yep. We have meme culture. Like there are so many memes being made like about this stuff. Like even now it's still going. Like there are people making these animations where it's like
My wife saw that this
it's
morning.
yeah, it was one I think it was parodying Band of Brothers or something like that. Where like Kendrick like was stabbing Drake, and then they had something where it was like Street Fighter. No, it somebody made a Mortal Kombat mod where like Kendrick was beating the crap out of Drake, but it was like the newest Mortal Kombat game, and it's like it's crazy, you know. But let me ask you this, man, and we can start to wrap it up. Hip hop is 50 years old, man. Where do you see hip hop going? Do you think hip hop is still going to stay the dominant art form in the world? Or is something like Afro beats? You know, I keep hearing people talk about that. Do you think Afro beats is going to dethrone it? Or is hip hop going to still stay the preeminent art form?
I honestly think that hip hop is going to stay the dominant platform. I mean, if anything, you would say pop music, right? I mean,
Yeah.
which Drake kind of he dwells in and out of that as far as pop and hip hop. I really do think so because you cannot deny, you know, us as Black people, our ability to be able to spin our stories from pain into this art form and make it on a
Mm-hmm.
beat. It makes something that you can dance to. I just think our ability to be able to do that is just something that's going to be able to continue as long as you'll be able to evolve. I am kind of scared now, though, as far as with this AI and how is that going to play out? Because now
Mm-hmm.
with the Chat GPT, I mean, you can create a rap song,
Yeah. Chat
right?
GPT is wild. It's
So, I
wild.
mean, and even look at what Drake did with his second this song. I mean, he created an AI version of Tupac. He
Mm-hmm.
created an AI version of Snoop Dogg. So that's what kind of concerns me is now are you just going to be able just to learn how to rhyme and flow, create raps on a platform and then just go from there? So
Yeah,
that's kind of scary, but we don't
it
know
is.
these people have already been probably already using this for some time that we're just now getting into it within the last 2 years. So I do think that hip hop is going to continue to maintain its dominance.
Check this out, man. With the whole AI thing, they need to pass a law. I think that if a song is made with AI, they need to tell you. It has to be, and that AI created song cannot be allowed to win a Grammy or any other kind of award. It can get radio play, but it cannot be allowed to win a Grammy. Because and it has we have to know because what's going to happen is if we allow that to happen, artists are just going to get on Chat GPT and say, "Hey, write me a song about big booty women in the club." And then boom, it'll get to the point where, you will use ChatGPT for the lyrics, and then somebody will make a beat and record it, and then boom. But eventually, it'll get to the point where you won't even need a human to rap it. You won't need a human to make a beat. You won't need a human to mix and master it. You'll just be able to get into AI and say, "Hey, make me a song about diamond chains or something like that, or Rolex watches, right? Or make me a song about growing up in a divorced household or something." And then the app will just create it for you, fully finished. And then boom, they'll put it on SoundCloud, the algorithm will push it out, and then they have a hit. No human necessary. Eventually, you'll get to the point where studios won't even need actual people. This AI will be able to create avatars that look as real as me and you. We won't even know. Like, remember the Gorillas, that cartoon rock group? It'll be like that. The
Yep.
thing is the Gorillas, there were real people singing those songs. It was real animators animating it. But now with computers, we'll just have a fake avatar, and it'll be perfectly designed to appeal to the most people. So like they could make a female artist, and they could like figure out what woman gets the most eyeballs. Like if they say a light-skinned black woman gets more eyeballs than a dark-skinned black woman, then they'll make her light-skinned. They say a
Mm.
woman who has a thin waist but like a size C breast gets more eyeballs than a woman with size D breast. I don't know, but I used to study graphic design. I've been in these rooms where they do this kind of stuff, and they have it all down to a T. And the AI and the algorithms will be able to tell what gets eyeballs, and they'll be able to make something that people just won't be able to resist, and human beings won't be able to resist it at all. It'll songs will, instead of going platinum, they'll have to make up something other. Like I'm not sure if what's bigger, diamond or platinum. What's the level? Is diamond greater than platinum, or
Diamond.
they'll have to create
I believe
something
diamond is
higher?
5 million. Yeah.
Yeah, they'll have to create something higher than diamond, you know? Like they'll say like, "Oh, it went emerald or it went ruby or something like that."
Mm.
I mean, they already
Yeah.
tried it. They tried to create an AI artist. I can't remember the name, but people got appalled because
I
it was like
remember.
it was
I
like a
remember.
black person.
Yes. But what wound up happening is I believe the person who was behind it was black.
Hmm.
He wound up coming out. I remember that. So this was like a couple years ago. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. And but the thing is, we have to set the precedent now that this is not okay. But I don't know if we're going to be able to do it, man. Like
Not
I
sure.
genuinely don't know. So music is about to go to some strange places. And the thing is now, since it's AI and it doesn't exist, they can have a hologram go on tour, right? And that hologram can go to multiple cities at the same time. So they'll be on tour in Los Angeles, Chicago, Cincinnati, and New York, all on the same night. They'll be on
This is
tour
some
in
Will Smith, I Robot stuff, man.
yeah, yeah. This is like I've done a lot of episodes about AI. It's been a while since I've done one, but this AI, man, it's a real threat to humanity. I don't think people truly, truly, truly understand that we are in a crisis right now because AI can replace everything. And the jobs it's going to replace first are going to be the highly skilled jobs people have to go to college for. My dad had his prostate removed by a robot. I know that sounds crazy, but he had signs of prostate cancer. He went to the hospital. The doctor told him the process. He said, "You can choose to have the robot do it or the doctor do it." My dad said, "I want a human." But then the doctor was like, "The robot has a higher success rate." So he went with the robot. What happens when you have highly educated people who have loads of debt from college but can't get jobs because they've been replaced by AI?
Scary. I
I
don't.
mean,
I don't. That's
yeah,
a scary world to be in.
it is a scary world, man. I know we kind of just took it to a whole different direction, but this AI, this AI thing scares me. But let's just go ahead and wrap it up, man. What's the final word, and do you have anything you want to promote?
No, nothing I want to promote. I'm just looking forward to where both these artists go from this point,
Hmm.
specifically Drake. He's the loser, perceived loser in the situation. Where does he go? Where is he at June 1st, 2025? What album has he come out? What songs did he come out with? How did it chart? What is the response to them? Really interested to see how he spins out of this, especially. I know we didn't get a chance to talk about it and talk about it another time as far as with these leaks and this ghostwriter stuff and references. How does he go from there? Really interested to see where he goes. And of course, just musically from Kendrick, I really want to see what his next album is. I've been a Kendrick fan since the beginning. So every album can give you something different. This last album was a deep introspective album. And this Not Like Us record shows that if he wants to pin a smash, if he wants to pin a chart popping album or a piece, he can definitely do it. So I'm really looking forward to his next project just to kind of see where he goes from there. And yeah, that's it.
Awesome, man. Hey, this has been a great discussion, man. It's been a long time since I really had a great hip hop discussion. This is awesome. I can't wait to get this out. I know the audience is really going to enjoy it. Thank you for coming on. And do you have like any kind of thing you promote, like podcast or anything like that you have or anything?
No podcasts. I'm just a fan of hip hop, a fan of music, just really trying to go about life and enjoy life as much as possible. So no fan of podcasts. I'll definitely be listening to your episodes in the future and hopefully we can connect again.
Awesome, man. Hey, I love it. Thank you for doing this. And yeah, we definitely need to do this again, man.
All right, that's a wrap. Thank you for joining us for another enlightening conversation here on Bright Brains. I hope you've gained valuable insights and inspiration to fuel your own bright ideas. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to like and subscribe, rate, and leave a review on your favorite podcast platform or however else you listen to this podcast. Also, we can be found on all major social media. Just type in Bright Brains with a Z. And remember, the brightest minds are those that never stop seeking knowledge.